is R.C. Blakes. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well tonight. I just wanted to break in and have this conversation with you tonight. And hopefully I can get some people to come in. Please share this if you will, if you can. Share this with everyone that you possibly can. Thank you for joining me tonight. I was rushing to get here to share this. Hopefully my signal is good. Hopefully my signal is good. Am I coming through pretty good? Am I coming through pretty good? Is my signal good before I get started? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I guess that means I am coming through good. Well, thank you for joining me tonight. And I want to jump right in. I put a post up, I think on Instagram, and I think in my community on YouTube as well. You know, about as long as you allow, I forget the exact wording, but here's the gist of it. As long as you allow yourself to be someone's option, they will always play with you. They will continue to play with you. As long as you allow yourself to be an option, not a property necessity, but an option, people will always play with you. You will never be able to extract respect from option status. And how do you know you're an option? You know you're an option when you're in a relationship with a person. This goes both ways, male or female. You know that you're just an option when they have you on a schedule and they've conditioned you to that schedule. You're just an option, you know. Every Friday at 9 o'clock, you're just an option. Periodically, frequently even, they break the normal standing time that you're supposed to be together. You're just an option. You're not a priority. You're not a necessity. You're just an option. You know, they talk to you, speak to you with disdain and disrespect, and they think nothing of it. You're just an option. As long as you allow yourself to stay in that position, you know, I'm telling you, it's a no-win situation. And there are a lot of you that are in that position now, and you say, well, you know, it hurts so bad when I think about moving my life forward, moving on from this thing. And my response always to that is you have to choose your pain. You either choose the pain of disconnecting from something that is clearly poisoning you and ruining your life, you know, draining your future. You either suffer that pain now and heal and get better, or you suffer the pain of losing your whole life to a situation that God never ordained, a situation that you were always better than, to a person that should have never even gotten a conversation with you. Can you imagine what pain you're going to feel after you've wasted your whole life in option status to a person that made a lot of promises that they never fulfilled and are never going to fulfill? And you're just hanging on for dear life, hoping and a wishing and a praying that, you know, something's going to change. Let me tell you something about this thing relative to praying, especially when you're in a posture where this person is not even your spouse and you're praying for God to change this person so that this person will be perfect for you. God is not really in the business necessarily of changing a person's mind. If God were in the business of changing a person's mind or managing or manipulating a person's mind, he would manage and manipulate everyone's heart that they would accept him. But even man's relationship with God is contingent on the man's free will. So if you have another person who does not will to put you in that place, who does not will to esteem you to, a certain place in his or her life, it's kind of futile to ask God to intervene and to change their mind so that they will think and behave the way you need them to behave. When God respects the free moral agency of a person, meaning God respects a person's free will. If a person does not want you like that, you have to be smart enough, wise enough to read between the lines. And sometimes you don't have to read between the lines. It's just written out plainly on the paper. You just got to read it, and you got to accept it, and you have to have more self-respect and self-love for you than to allow a person to toy with you and play with you and leave you hanging in option status. An option is something you can take or leave. It's not a necessity, and it is often not even a priority. Like, I suppose they still do this with cars. When I was younger and I had a real serious budget and I was a car, well, what do the options cost? And I would sit there and I'd be, pondering, do I really need air conditioning? Do I really need power windows? These are options. I can wind these windows down. I don't have no problem with it, because options are the things you can take or leave. They're not necessarily a necessity, and they're often not even a priority to the individual. Well, you don't ever want to be power windows to a person where they can say, I don't know. You think I need it? No. You want to be something like the engine. You want to be something like the steering wheel. You know what I mean? You don't want to be an option. You don't want anybody to occupy your life, tie up your time, that views you as air conditioning or not. See, if you're in the north, I don't need no air conditioning. It doesn't get that hot up here. Well, if you're in the south where I'm at, air conditioning is probably a necessity. But you don't want to be in a position where a person is toying with you, should I, shouldn't I, do I need, do I want? You don't want to be there. And there's something about, especially when it comes down to a woman, because this message goes both ways, it really does, but I think it applies more to women than men because of obvious reasons. You have more women that take relationships very, very seriously than men. Men just move on because in a lot of cases, we as men are not, very seldom are we really serious. We grow up, but we don't mature quite often. And so, we don't really take the relationship thing as seriously as women. So if something falls apart on us, we just move on to the next one because we never really invested. But for women, it becomes, in more cases than not, something very, very serious. And a woman usually wants a relationship to work. And sometimes you're making too big of an investment into somebody who is not really serious about you. And you have to have, again, listen to what I'm saying. You have to have the dignity and the self-respect to be able to recognize a thing for what it is, not provide value without price. In other words, don't allow a person to just run through your body, just having sex with you for 2 years before you wake up and realize, I've just been an option. No. You got to have more dignity and self-respect and self-love than to just throw yourself at somebody and to just let people run through you and then finally come to the realization, the discernment that this person is just viewing me as a plaything. And you have to have enough self-respect and dignity that when it clearly is what it is, you have to love yourself enough to walk away from that thing without apology, even if your heart has to break. You got to be woman enough. You got to be even man enough, if you're in this position as a man, to be able to call the thing what it is. Cut the thing off right where you find it. When you come to that truth, cut it off right there and move on with your life. Deal with what you got to deal with, but preserve your dignity and your self-respect. Stop sitting around trying to do CPR on a corpse. This thing has been dead. In fact, it never lived. But you just are hoping and a wishing and a praying and all of this kind of thing, because that broken consciousness in you has you so desperate for a relational status that many times, especially women, you're so desperate for a marriage, you're accepting many times something less than a husband. Now, I want to bring you to a biblical text. And this may be a little different way of looking at this text, because the way I've heard it, even the way I've preached it, we always jump fast forward over the realities of this text. And we jump to Esther and we talk about the beautiful story of Esther and the king. Before there was Esther, there was Vashti. And I want to read something to you. And I want us to just kind of look at it a little differently. And we're talking about a queen conscious woman will never allow herself to be handled like an option. A queen conscious woman, you all invite some people to come in here, will never allow herself to be handled or managed like an option. You're either going to handle me like a priority, like the priority I must be, or I'm out. You're not going to disrespect and mishandle a queen conscious woman. Her self-respect, her self-love, and her dignity will not allow it. She will go home and allow her heart to be crushed and broken in pieces before she allows anybody to disrespect her and handle her like she's an option. If you are settling for option status, we know that we have work to do on your queen consciousness. You're still functioning as a woman from a place of broken consciousness. In other words, you don't really know who you are, you don't know your value, and you don't esteem yourself high enough. That's why the energy you put out into the world always comes back to you as disrespect, because that lack of dignity that you have is inviting that kind of behavior, inviting that kind of energy. But look in Esther chapter 1, verses 10 through 12. And I want us to look at this queen that was before Esther, Vashti. And it says, on the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, in other words, he was drunk, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcas, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring, listen to this, he was drunk, and he told his servants to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty. He wanted her to parade and perform for men, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very angry, and his anger burned in him. Now I'll stop right there. Now, usually when we hear Vashti mentioned, it's kind of mentioned like, okay, she was disrespectful, and for the culture she was. She was dishonorable, and for the culture she was. But it's like the king was saying to the queen, come and parade yourself in front of these men for me. And it's like her consciousness refused to allow her to belittle herself like a show dog. And she says, no. And the king got angry, and long story short, the king fired Vashti, and then the king started looking for a new queen. And that's how Esther came into the picture. But here's the thing, as I was reading that, I heard the Holy Spirit say this: just because you have the title doesn't mean you have the position. She had the title of queen, but clearly she didn't have the position of queen in his heart. Because when a king really honors and loves his queen, he's not going to parade her beauty before other men. It was, I don't care what the culture, it was disrespectful for the king to take and bring his wife and ask her to perform for other men. And there was something that rose up in her that said, no, I can't do that. The king said, okay, you out of here. And he started searching for another. Just because you have the title doesn't mean you have the position. We can see that she was feeling like, okay, this dude is handling me like I'm an option, like, like I'm this dude handling me like I'm a side chick or something. Does he not know I'm the queen? And there was a certain dignity in her clearly that said, I'm not doing that. Even if it means I'm going to lose this crown, I'm not doing that. And she gave up her crown for her dignity. But we can see that she was an option in his eyes because of the king's willingness to exploit her. See, whenever you have somebody that exploits you, you're not a priority. You're an option. Somebody that disrespects you publicly, you're an option. Somebody that toys with your heart, you're an option. They know that you're expecting them. They know that you're looking for them. They don't even have enough respect for you to call and say, well, I'm not going to make it. They just don't show up. And then 3 or 4 days later, they call you, what's up? You're an option. Now, there are 4 things I want to share with you relative to the tragedy of positioning yourself as an option. The tragedy, especially to you ladies, the tragedy of positioning yourself as an option. When you allow yourself to live as an option, see, when you allow, I don't care how much money dude dropping off at the house, and you know this dude got a whole family on the other side of town, bet you an option. And if it came down to it tonight, that dude had to make a choice. You think he's going to leave his family? How long has he been telling you he's going to leave you? Bet that man is not going to leave his family for you. You're just an option. You're just an option. And just because he's dropping money off, he probably just got it like that. You're an option. Okay, let me get back to my point. Number 1, when you settle for that, when you settle for being someone's option and being an option time and time and time and time again, your last relationship, you was not the priority. You were not the number 1. You were an option in that relationship. This relationship, you're an option. Dude telling you, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna make you wifey. And yet, number 1, you are marketing to the wrong clientele. When you position yourself and you send out the message that I'm willing to be an option, and see, yeah, there are ways that you send out the message that you're willing to be an option in your dress code. A man can pretty much look at the way you dress and tell if you're desperate or not. I paused because I need y'all to really hear what I just said and think about it. I said a man can tell by your dress code if you're desperate for a relationship or not. See, if you just going out here and you just showing all your business and you got all your stuff revealed, that's an indication to a man that you're desperate for a relationship, and that says to him, she's willing to settle for option status. And 99% of the time, that is an accurate assessment. Because any woman that understands that she's not an option, she's a wife, she's gonna carry herself like that, she's gonna dress like that. She's not wearing dresses that she got to pull down to stop her cheeks from showing and all of this kind of stuff. She's just not gonna do it. She's not gonna be wearing all of these tops that you can see through and no undergarments on and all of this kind of thing. That I don't care how cute you look, that's a clear sign that you're desperate, and it's like putting blood in the water for sharks. The sharks begin to circle because you are marketing yourself to the wrong people. I was saying on Instagram yesterday, in relationships it's like the mall. You have two types of people that are moving in and out of relationships. You have shoppers and you have purchasers. When you putting everything in when you showing everything in the storefront window, you are appealing to shoppers. Now here's the problem with shoppers. Shoppers many times are just addicted to the process. And shoppers will look in your window, they'll try your stuff on. Yeah, they'll try your stuff on, and they'll put you back on the rack, and then they'll move down to the next store, try those people's stuff on, put that back, and move all the way, spend a whole day in the mall, knew they didn't have no money, they couldn't afford nothing when they left home. They just wanted to try the stuff on and take them some pictures for the gram. And see, you have men in relationships that are just shoppers. They're moving around from one woman to the next, moving around from one, trying you on. That's why you got to get out of this thing where you're laying down, giving your body away to all of these men, giving away all of this sex. They ain't purchasing. They're not gonna close the deal. They're not trying to cut no covenant. They just trying you on for size. And when they through trying you on, putting their sin all over you, now they're going to move on to the next store and go and mess those people's clothes up. You have shoppers, but then you have purchasers. The other day we were in Chicago on the Magnificent Mile, and we went into Saks Fifth Avenue. Lisa and I walked in straight through the door, and it's like you run right up on the fragrance counter. And there was this older salesperson. Before we saw him, he saw us. That man clearly recognized us as purchasers. And before I knew it, this man was from behind the counter. He was welcoming us, and he was pulling us over there to the counter, which we went there to go and buy some fragrances. And before I knew it, man, this man had me there, and I was purchasing. Now, they had a whole lot of people, swarming around us and move. But that man identified us in the crowd and said, let me go and grab them. Because there's a difference between shoppers and purchasers. A shopper will waste up all of your time and say, let me think about it. A purchaser is one that pretty much knew what they wanted before they left the house, said in their mind, I'm going to such and such a store and I'm going to buy such and such a thing, and then I'm out. That's the way I shop. I don't typically walk through malls. I have my mind made up. This is what I'm going to go and get. I may look at it online. I say, this is what I'm going to go and get. I'm going to this store. And when I walk in, if they don't know me, they're trying to sell me. I don't want to talk about all that. I didn't come here for all that. I didn't come here to shop. I came here to buy. I know exactly what I want. Oh, but it cost. I didn't ask you how much it costs. Where is it at? Bring it out. I came here for it. Let me give you my card. God bless you. Thank you. I'm out of here. I like it to be a 5-minute experience. Because I didn't go to shop. I didn't go to look around. I didn't go to test drive nothing. I didn't go to try nothing on. I knew what I wanted before I left the house. And see, when you present yourself as one that's open to being an option, you're going to always attract shoppers. You're going to always attract shoppers. And see, what is a shopper, Shopper, double-minded man, the Bible says, is unstable in all of his ways. There's nothing solid, there's nothing consistent with a double-minded man. Wants it this minute, Don't know if I want it now. I think, and then watch this. A shopper will act like they're purchasing, bring you home, leave the tag on you, wear you to the party, and then return you the next day. So you got to be careful because you are marketing to the wrong clientele. Many times you're marketing yourself to shoppers. Watch this. You have more shoppers than you have purchasers. You have more shoppers than you have purchasers. While we were standing there doing that interaction or transaction with the man at the fragrance counter, a lot of people around the counter, but I only saw two purchases, me and another, Lisa and I and another gentleman. Just two. Everybody else was sniffing and spraying and, using the people's stuff up and sniff me, how I smell. Thank you, and moving on, just using the people's stuff up. They wanted as much value as they could get for nothing. You have to begin to distinguish between a shopper versus a purchaser. Number one, let me not get into all that. Listen to what the Bible says in Matthew 15:8. It says, Jesus says, this people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth and honoreth. All right. All right. My signal went out for a second there. Yeah, Jesus says, this people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. You don't want somebody, shoppers just have a whole lot of mouth. Purchasers, they have a connection that's from the heart. Purchaser, a man that's a purchaser, he has questions. You know what I mean? He has real serious questions, and he's concerned with more than your body. He's trying to get further than the bed. He's not just trying to sex you up. He's trying to know you. He's trying to love you. He's trying to support you. He's trying to undergird you. A shopper comes in, sizing you up, looking you up and down. Yeah, and then, sizing you up, looking you up and down. Yeah, and see, you like that broken consciousness likes that. You like to feel sexy in the eyes of a man. That's that broken consciousness. You should have knew you were sexy when you woke up this morning. You should have told yourself that. See, if you had done that and you had served that part of your own self-esteem, you would have then been in a position where you could have appreciated a man that's coming with more than just a shopper's mentality. You need a man that has a purchaser's, a man that's ready to cut covenant, a man that's ready to pay the price for the relationship. And see, we can talk, all day long till the cows come home, till you make up your mind that you deserve better than this. You're going to keep falling for this. And you're going to stay in the same position, and you're going to keep choosing shoppers, and you're going to keep missing purchasers. Because while you tied up with a shopper, a purchaser is walking by, going to the next, counter. All right, number two, as long as you maintain the option status and, you just content with being an option, you disguise your value. You disguise your value. I have to push back all the time on women, especially who say there are no good men out here. And here's the reality. Here's my reality. I very rarely find a single women who are actually available for a good man. Most of y'all that are saying that are constantly in and out of relationships. You really don't have any extended period of time where you're actually single and available if a good man actually came. Now, here's the thing you're missing. While you're allowing your life to be preoccupied with shoppers, people who just come to, take value without price, and you just keep on filling your life up, filling your timeline up with all of these clowns, you are disguising your value. There are a lot of you who are actually wives, but if we look at your timeline on social media, we can't tell. With the kind of pictures you're taking, with the kind of people you're hanging out with, you are disguised. And here's the illustration that the Lord gave me. It's kind of like if you took a $500,000, $400,000 Rolls Royce Phantom, all white, and put it in the middle of a car lot with 500 white Toyotas and Chevrolets. You would not be able to determine or distinguish the Rolls Royce because it would be disguised because of where it's positioned. Here you have a $500,000 car in the middle of all of these $20,000 and $30,000 cars maybe, and nobody can recognize it because of where it's positioned. As long as you continue to allow your life to be filled with men that are not husbands, husbands will always overlook you because of where you're always positioned. And that broken consciousness has you, the thing you all fear the most is being alone. Oh, if I'm alone, I'm scared to be alone. I don't want to be alone. Babe, you got to be alone to be discovered. You can't be recognized by husband material if you're always tied up with boyfriends. You disguise your value. And see, being a queen conscious woman, there should be a distinction about you. You should not blend in to the crowd. You should not, be preoccupied all the time. You're a queen conscious woman. You are designed to stand out and watch this, be able to stand alone if you have to until the right situation comes into your life. You're not a weak little woman that needs an attachment for identity purposes. How can someone discover you if you're always attached? Listen to what Leviticus 10:10 says, and that ye may put difference between holy and unholy, and between unclean and clean. There ought to be a difference between you and a typical woman that's struggling with broken consciousness. You ought to be able to stand out and stand alone. Now, what are some of the things that should be a part of your character that will, put you in a position where you can be discovered and you're not disguised, your value is not disguised? Number one, there should be an unrelenting standard. If you are a queen conscious woman, there is an unrelenting standard. There's a standard that you're not going to break for nothing and nobody. And if people can't respect that, you are, number one, if you're a queen conscious woman, you do not need a man to find fulfillment in life. Fulfillment comes from the purpose that God has put on your life as an individual. Fulfillment is not going to come from a relationship with anybody else. Fulfillment comes when you discover your purpose as an individual for existing and being. And when you know that and you're queen conscious, there's an unrelenting standard. A person cannot use a few fancy words. A person cannot try to break your self-esteem down, make you feel bad about yourself to get you to drop the bar. When you're a queen conscious, there's an unrelenting standard. Letter B, there's an impeccable quality. You're a quality woman. And you're not a woman that is going to be, you're not going to lead with your sexuality because, That's why you don't see Rolls Royces doing donuts in the middle of the highway. No. There's an impeccable quality that you don't even, watch this, have to run commercials. You don't see a Rolls Royce commercial. You don't have to run a commercial for a Rolls Royce. The quality of the car is so impeccable, it is going to appeal to a certain clientele. It doesn't have to sell. Its quality speaks for it. And then watch this. You have an unrelenting standard. You have an impeccable quality. And then you have a no compromise policy. You're not going to come up in here haggling. You're not going to talk us down off of price. No, you either can afford a Rolls Royce or you can't. If you can't afford it, let the doorknob hit you with a good Lord split you. You know what I'm talking about. You're not the one we're looking for. And you don't have a Rolls Royce customer, walking up and down the street every day. You may have 500-600 people pass through a Chevy dealership a day, possibly. And a Rolls Royce dealership, they may have 2 or 3 people that actually come through there because most of their clients make phone calls and they do transactions over the phone and say deliver it to the house. I'm preaching better than y'all shouting. So when you're queen conscious, you're not upset that everybody not hollering at you. You're not a Chevy. You're not a Chevy. You're Rolls Royce. And you're not going to disguise your value by blending in and positioning yourself as a woman that is satisfied with being an option. Your psyche. When you're convinced, listen to this very carefully. When you are convinced that your age, because you're a certain age, you better start compromising. Well, how old are you? I'm 30. I'm 35. Ooh, it's just about over for you, 35-year-old. Just about over for you. You 40? Ooh, Lord. You 50? Ooh, my goodness. And now you say, okay, I better start compromising. I better drop these standards. The thing you don't understand is when you start compromising, you are damaging your own psyche. In other words, you're damaging your own brain when you start compromising. Because when you start compromising and you start lowering that bar from the high standard of queen consciousness, you develop a dysfunctional paradigm. And what's a paradigm? It's a mindset that governs our lives beneath the surface. And what happens is the paradigm that is now ruling your life from the unconscious, unseen realm says, I'm an option. I'm an option. I'm an option. That's what's going on in the subconscious mind. I'm an option. I'm an option. Now, what's happening is in your conscious mind, you may be saying, I'm a wife. I'm a wife. I'm a wife. But in your subconscious mind, because you started lowering that bar, your subconscious mind is saying, you're an option. You're an option. You're an option. You may as well settle because you're an option. You're an option. This is what the Bible means when it says, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You begin, letter A, you damage your psyche. You begin to believe that inferiors are superior. The more you buy into option status and you start, I've been trying, I know that he's married. I know that he's engaged, but I've been trying. He don't love her. You don't realize that you're damaging your psyche to drop your standards like that. And you begin to believe that inferiors are now your superiors. This is how my famous saying, PhD women are manipulated by GED men. I'm not talking about actual educational levels. I'm talking about, you got guys that, are immature and undeveloped that are taking women that are supposed to be sophisticated and all of this kind of thing and managing you like a puppet. Because when you begin to settle, you damage your psyche to the point that you begin to take folk that are inferior and you begin to, in your own mind, make them superior. And they can sit there, you got to be careful with language. They can sit there and use their words and talk you into stuff and have you agreeing with stuff as a woman. The game is real. You're sitting there agreeing with this stuff, agreeing that, a man is not going to be faithful and all this kind of stuff here. Why would you settle for something like that? Why would you want a farce of a marriage? Say you got a husband, and then on the next breath you say, well, he ain't gonna be faithful. I know he ain't gonna be faithful, but I'm all right. I'm all right. You're damaged. You're damaged. You're damaged. You're emotionally damaged. You're psychologically damaged. And the wrong kind of narcissistic, demonic man will take advantage of your damage. That's why I sit here and I just try to talk straight to you. Because I see a lot of y'all, man, I just watching us, listening to some of this stuff y'all saying. And it's like you believe in this rhetoric. People are pouring this trash into you because, you have bought into the fact that, okay, letter B, you damage your psyche because you begin to believe that inferiors are actually superior. Letter B, you're waiting for honor. All right. Yeah, my signal was trying to go out on me. Hopefully everybody will come back in. But letter B, waiting for honor, when you know that you're damaged, when you start allowing your standard to drop and you just settling for being an option, you're damaged psychologically. Now, letter B, waiting for honor becomes your dysfunctional norm. Waiting for honor becomes your dysfunctional norm. In other words, you're constantly waiting for a person to honor you. You're waiting for a person to honor you. You're waiting for a person to esteem you, to respect you. And that has become your dysfunctional norm. Your last relationship, you were never honored. This relationship, you've not been honored. But it's become normal to you to just wait for honor. Let us see. You reject the idea of being someone's priority as even being a possibility. You get so broken. You get so broken that you subconsciously you reject the idea of the possibility of being someone's priority. They got you twisted up so much that you don't even believe it's possible for you to actually be a man's priority. Now, mind you, back to what I said, you've never allowed yourself to be available, and you always filled your life with shoppers. You've been attracted and even addicted to shoppers. So you've never really allowed yourself to be available for a purchaser, for a man that wants to really cut covenant, to actually show up in your life. But your consciousness is so broken now that you can't even see it as a possibility that there is a man that will make you his priority. Especially those of you who are of a certain age. I put up on my community page on YouTube, actually, a ring. I guess you call it an engagement ring. And it's for a woman that's over 40, given to her by a man that's a millionaire. Preaching better than y'all shouting. But a lot of y'all say, well, beyond 40, ain't nothing can happen for me. And you actually believe that. You reject the idea of being someone's priority as even being a possibility. Letter D, you're no longer offended at disrespect. You have gotten so broken in your consciousness. You've gotten so broken in your consciousness, you are no longer offended at disrespect. People can cuss you out. They can call you all kinds of B's. They can flaunt their affairs in front of you. They can tell you just got to deal with it. And you are no longer offended. You have separated yourself from your dignity so far that you're no longer offended at disrespect, at blatant disrespect. And then watch this. Letter E, your broken consciousness begins to self-contain you. In other words, you develop these chains on your brain that, perverted male society doesn't even have a job to do. You are contained by the chains that have been established on your brain. You are now self-contained. You are female. You are officially female slave conditioned. And then number four, and I'm out. You overvalue basic respect as extraordinary. When you fall into developing this mindset of being an option, you overvalue basic as things that should come standard. You're viewing it as something extraordinary, and you're inflating. In other words, the bar is so low. Is my signal bad again? You've dropped the bar so low that a man can come in and just give you the basics, and you inflate it and you view it as something extraordinary. You think, watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this, listen to this. You think because a man doesn't cheat, that's basic. Man ain't supposed to cheat. Not if he married. That's basic. You think because a man, opens the door, really that's basic. And you find yourself in a place where you're blown away by things that you should have demanded and expected from the beginning. And this is what we're dealing with. We have a generation of women. Let me shut this down because this signal's not the greatest tonight. We have a generation of women who have been mistreated, mishandled so long that now when a man shows up and he gives you just the basic respect, it blows your mind. And in some cases, watch this, when a man gives you that kind of respect, your consciousness is so broken you don't even know how to receive it. You think something's strange about him. You think something's wrong with him. Watch this. You even sabotage the relationship because this is so far out of the parameters of what you have viewed as normal. A man that can leave his cell phone on the nightstand and go to the store. Come on now. A man that says he's going to be here at a certain time and actually show up at that time. Man that ain't got nothing to hide, no sneaking and all of this kind of stuff here. You think something wrong with that guy. You want a guy that's going to lie to you, run game on you, get all up in your head, mess your head all up, play mind games on you. And you'll sabotage a great situation like that, and then you'll send me an email talking about, he loves God, he works, he has good money, he respects me, he does this, he does that, but I don't know if I'm attracted to him. That's that broken consciousness in you. You'll describe a man that, millions, if not billions of women are searching for, and you can have him in your life and sabotage it and go right back to a man that's just shopping. See, you got some work you got to do in you. If you get you together, all of these games that the homeboys are playing on you will not work. The reason this stuff is working in your life is because you have personal healing and personal work to do. You ain't ready for no relationship. You need a relationship with the Creator, and you need a relationship with yourself. If you keep running in and out of these relationships, you're going to keep getting dogged out, and you're going to keep being an option, and your psyche is going to continue to be broken and broken and broken and broken and broken. You got to pause on this thing, and you got to heal. You got to learn. You got to self-correct, so that you're no longer vulnerable to men with silver tongues. saying all of this stuff, getting in your head, got you doubting your own value. Come on now. Got you doubting your own value. Who can determine your value but your creator? If I didn't make you, when I went to buy this shirt, Robert Graham made this shirt. Them people didn't let me write on it to write on the price tag. The manufacturer determines the value of the, come on somebody. How you going to let the world break you down to the point that you're allowing people to redefine you and determine your value with their words? These things ought not to be. Hope you got something out of this. Thank you for showing up tonight. Don't forget to stop by my website, rcblakes.com, sign up for my mailing list. Check out my online programs. If you've not done that, do so. They will bless you. Go to Amazon, pick up any or all of my books. Those of you that need counseling, we have partnered with BetterHelp Counseling. And in the description, you will find a link. If you need counseling, you can hit that link and it'll afford you 10% off of the cost of the counseling. And they in turn will make a donation to the ministry. I love you. I thank God for you all. I really, really do. Thank you, all of you that supported me financially tonight. I appreciate you. I know you didn't have to do it, and I'm so grateful for you. I am so grateful for you. And with that being said, I think I'm done tonight. Please share this everywhere you can. Share the link on your other social media platforms. And I think this is a message that needs to be heard. I love you all. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, look, I've been on here almost an hour. I got 1,882 of you left in the room. I got 954 likes. Now, come on, y'all. Y'all, get me on up. I should have, yeah, get me on up there, please. I love you all, for real. For real, for real, for real. I love you, I love you, I love you. Stay tuned now because I may be back this week and just putting in some work. God bless you. I love you. Have a great night. Have a great night. And I'll talk to you real soon. God bless you all.